Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Pastor Lawrence. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're watching us from and where you're listening from us. Now, I have a message that I want to talk to that I called understanding, understanding and identifying the seasons of life. Now, Genesis chapter number 1, verses number 14. That is the first time that God Himself made sure that there were seasons of life. One, the Bible says, and God said, let there be light bearers. That is the sun. Light bearers is the sun, the moon, and the stars. This were the definition of one side of the season. And then He said on, in the expanse of the heavens to the earth, He separated the day from the light. And they say, let them be useful for signs and tokens of God's provident care, or making seasons, that is days, years, days and years, meaning, and then again in the Act of Apostle, chapter number 1. Let me read it quickly so that you can be able to have the understanding to know what I'm talking about the season. The Bible says, verses number 7, in the Act of Apostle, chapter number 1, verse number 7. Uh, these are the children of Israel. If you start asking, reading from verse number 6, the Bible says, when they had come together, they asked him repeatedly, not once, repeatedly, Lord, are you at this time reestablishing the kingdom and restoring it to Israel? Number 7, he said to them, it is not for you to know times or epochs which the Father had fixed by His own authority, but you receive the power and the ability. No, the other translation says, season and times belongeth to God. Now, in the book of First Chronicles, chapter number 12, from verse number 30, the Bible talks about different types. I don't want me to read also, because that is a context text of our scriptures today. First Chronicles chapter number First Chronicles chapter number number 12, sorry. First Chronicles chapter number 12, from verse number 30. First Chronicles chapter 12, verses number 30. The Bible says, let me start from verse number 23. Then the numbers of the armed unit equipped for war, who came to David at Ekron to turn over the kingdom of Saul to him, in accordance with the word of the Lord, those of the tribe of Judah who carried the shield, the spear, there were 6,800 armed men for war. And of the tribe of Simon, the brave warriors, there were 7,100. And of the tribe of Levi, there were 4,600 men. Joahida was the leader of the house of Aaron. With him were 3,700 men. And Sadok, a courageous man, 22 captains from his father's house of the tribe of Benjamin, and the relative of the king of Saul were 3,000. For until now, the majority of them had kept their allegiance to the house of Saul. Now, verse number 30, and of the tribe of Ephraim were 20,800 courageous men, famous in their father's house. Of the half tribe of Manasseh, it was 18,000 who were designated by the name to come and make David the king. But now, verse number 32, the Bible says, of the tribe of Issachar, men who understood the times and season with the knowledge of what Israel should do, were only 200 chiefs, and all their relatives at the time of their command. Now, I don't want to go to deeply of understanding that one of the greatest things that God will ever give to a man It is not the ability. It is not the fame. It is not even the resources. It is one of the greatest ability that the Lord will do for a man is to give the man opportunity to understand times, and season. When you understand times and season, it gives you the ability to know what to do. The Bible says, and the tribes of Issachar, they were not many in number. They were not the multitude as it was supposed to be. They were not the greatest of all. They were not the famous at that time. They were not the biggest warriors at that particular time. But these men, the Bible says, they were men of understanding and the men who knew season and what to do. One of the greatest gifts God will give you, it is to know and understand the times and the seasons of your life. When you know the times and season of your life, and you actually not when you know, because there's a particular season that comes in your life, you must be very attentive and careful, spiritually alert, and know what to do. You know, many times I've given an example, even to where we are right now at King's Covenant Cathedral, even this land, particularly where we are right today, apart from where the cathedral stands. You know, when we came to this place, we came at the time of distress. We came at the time that we were in a dire need of how to raise a place for us to worship. But in between, we just kind of suspended of the construction of the cathedral and started looking on how to buy this land. That time, it a season, seems that it was not viable. And even many times people could question our integrity. Why are you trying to do some other more extra activities, yet you have not even started to construct the cathedral that particular time? Honestly speaking, from the human understanding, from the mind of people, you can never even connect and ask yourself, why do we do that kind of a thing? But do you know what? The Bible says the sons of Issachar understood what to do. You know, when you understand about the season, then you know what to do in that season and how to do in that season, and you have a mission in that season. God provide for the mission. God protect the mission. God sustains the mission. God does not sustain an individual per se. God sustains a man. There's a man who can be placed in a place. Look at this. In the book of Esther, chapter number 4, verse 14, the Bible says, and Mordecai spoke to Esther, say, this time, in other words, this season, where you are the queen of that time, you are there for a time. You must know that every man in a place where you are, there's a time that of exit, there's a time of stay, there's a time of, if you leave before time, you get harassed. If you stay beyond time, then also something else will happen. I mean, that is it. The exit is a must. And also the stay is a must. And number 3, you must identify the people that God has sent in your life. Shalom. God bless you.